Broncos country. Can the ride start now? Did Denver do the right thing in hiring, trading slash hiring for, hire Sean Payton? Oh God. Okay, guys. I gotta settle. Let's just look at that. Let's just look at the next Denver Broncos head coach. One, Sean Payton. Shout out to Mr. Boggins for making that jersey swap. What do coaches have? Visor swap. Making that visor swap. Welcome to the show. Yeah, we're waiting on Will Keys to get here. Famously late, Will Keys probably had to walk his dog, so he needed an extra 5 minutes. I gave him 5 extra minutes, and he ain't here yet. So we're just gonna get started. All right. So the news is Sean Payton coming to the Broncos. Boom, breaking. That's from the NFL. We got everybody saying that it's happening. It is real. We're again, yeah, right there. See? Boom. Sean Payton to the Broncos. Now, obviously, this is a big name head coach. The Broncos coaching search was kind of weird, right? Oh, here's Will. Here's Tardy. Will Tardy Keys. He can hear me, but he's not in here yet. So I'm just going to keep talking shit until he closes his door. The coaching search was a little weird, right? We thought Sean Payton was the front runner. Then in comes Jim Harbaugh. Thought he was the front runner. Then DeMeco Ryans was the front runner. Then Harbaugh, Ryans, they both say, we don't want this dumb job. Go back to do something else. Ryans goes to Texas. Ian Rappaport says that Sean Payton was the Broncos' third choice. Doesn't matter. Sean Payton's the guy now. We're giving up a first-round draft pick this year, a second-rounder next year. We're getting a third-rounder back from the Saints. We knew we were going to have to give up the first-rounder. And honestly, think about it this way, Will.
Yes.
The Broncos are actually lucky that the Seahawks have their first-round draft pick.
That's a great point. Point.
We would probably be giving up the what were they at? We would be giving up the 5th overall draft pick for Sean Payton. And everybody would be like, ooh, that's steep. Pick 29?
You'd have to make that a 3-way trade, and that involves another willing party. And that would have been hard to pull off.
Why would another party have to be involved?
I don't think they would want to give up the 5th pick for Sean Payton. I mean, I think they'd still be interested in Payton. I just don't think that matches what we've seen out of head coach trades before.
Fair enough.
But yeah, you're right. It's a good thing.
Yeah. See, we got Brad. Basically, we traded Bradley Chubb for Sean Payton.
Yes.
And that to me seems like a pretty good trade right now.
Well, if Brock Purdy hadn't been so damn good, then we'd probably only need to deal that first round pick and not the second rounder 2024.
Yeah.
So Brock Purdy was the monkey wrench. As much as I did enjoy watching him succeed, and I was obviously crushed too when he got hurt in the NFC title game. He could have made things a lot more easy on us if he had just played like a 7th round rookie. He had played like almost every other rookie this year.
Yeah.
Rookie quarterback.
If he would have just been as good as literally every quarterback taken before him, we would have just given up 1 pick.
Right.
Yeah. Your gut feeling as soon as you heard, Will, because my gut feeling was tainted completely.
I was happy. I think he's always been my second guy. next to Jim Harbaugh. Once it sounded like talks had rekindled with Harbaugh, I kind of got my hopes up.
Yeah.
But I think Harbaugh and Payton are on just about equal footing. I think I've talked about how I think the Harbaugh fit makes a lot of sense, but you're not going to find a coach with a track record like Sean Payton very often. And people love to poke holes in that all the time. To which I would say beggars certainly can't be choosers in this instance. And he's a future Hall of Fame coach. So, yeah.
Especially after he gets his second Super Bowl win with Russell.
Right.
And also gets his second. This basically puts two guys in the Hall of Fame, Sean Payton and Russell Wilson.
Agreed.
And George Payton as a GM. Three guys.
And Peyton Manning a second time.
Peyton Manning as a minority stakeholder in a football team.
Yeah, they have like contributors that get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He's been a contributor for the league.
Ooh, this is what you do. You give Peyton Manning that honor the same year Tom Brady goes into the Hall of Fame so that Manning can overshadow him in that class.
I think that's a great idea. When do you think that's going to be?
6 years from now.
Okay.
I believe Brady plays one more year. Yeah. And I think it's going to be for the 49ers now. But thoughts on okay. So let's get into this because Sean Payton's going to be here. We give up some draft picks to get him.
Right.
And you know what's funny is thank Rip Ty for bringing up Vic Fangio. So I was pissed off when I heard that the Broncos were trading for Sean Payton because I just did an entire video about how nobody wanted to coach in Denver.
Right.
At least that was the angle of the title. Really, if you watch the video, then you understand I point out all the things that happened that kind of make it seem like that, and that the Broncos really wanted one of the two big candidates, which were Harbaugh and Payton, and then they kind of fell in love with D'Amico Ryans. That didn't work out, but they were still in on those guys. They just couldn't make them happen. The video still holds up, but I was pissed off because it literally just went up. And you know what?
Did you change the
editing
title?
that. What's that?
Did you change the title?
Slightly. I went from why nobody wants to coach for the Broncos to why nobody wanted to coach for the Broncos.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I was editing that and I started to get this feeling like I need to get this video up quickly. And I was like, why do you feel that way? I was like, they're not going to announce the coach today. It's taking too long. The D'Amico Ryans thing was happening. I go, I bet it happens tomorrow. But like I started getting this nauseous feeling, like this anxious thing, like I had to get it up. And of course, as soon as I put that video up, like 18 minutes later, the Broncos hired Payton. So I didn't even feel joy when I found out. I was just pissed that I spent all morning working on a fucking video that was immediately irrelevant. But within that video, I talked about Brock Purdy, his injury, and why the 49ers might be in play for Tom Brady, because it actually makes sense now. But I cut a section of that video basically projecting like Vic Fangio has not taken the Dolphins job because he's probably waiting to see where Sean Payton lands. Because those two had been linked together. It had been rumored that Sean Payton was going to take Vic Fangio with him as his DC wherever he went. And I wish now that I would have left that in because I think that was true. And so, yes, Vic Fangio is now rumored to be a defensive coordinator candidate for the Broncos. Dave Logan mentioned it on his radio show today with Ryan Edwards and Big Al. And at first I was like, you know what? I just want Ejiro Evero to get the gig. I want Evero back as defensive coordinator. And in order for that to happen, Evero has to not be offered one of the head coaching jobs, right? Because I think Evero did a hell of a job. But then common sense took over. And the big upside Vic Fangio has over Ejiro Evero is that we do not have to worry about teams looking at Vic Fangio to be a head coach ever. Like, Sean Payton, as long as Fangio wants to
over.
coach, he's going to be DC, and we're not going to be trying to replace him. So,
Although
think it might
I do
happen.
see a scenario where a team talks themselves into Vic Fangio if he's great again, which is not the worst thing in the world because that means he did something well as defensive coordinator, which I expect to happen wherever he goes, whether it's Miami or San Francisco or in Denver. But you could see a team being like, oh, well, who did he have to work with in Denver? Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater. Let's get him a real offense and see how he does. And meanwhile, you and I have the insider information from our sources, namely Derek Wolfe, who know that he's not much of a player's coach. No. Which, yeah, of course, if they bring him back, I think they'll have mixed reviews in the locker room of that move. But
yeah,
I think we've learned that being best friends with all the players isn't always super effective as a coach.
And you can kind of be that. Yeah, you can be that hard ass sort of defensive coordinator. And it would work with Fangio because you've got the head coach basically to protect the tone of practices, of the schedule, all that shit. I think players were really complaining about and didn't like with Fangio.
Yep.
And Sean Payton's a little bit of a hard-ass head coach anyway. Like, it's not going to be easier, and they probably want to work together because they think they approach things, in a similar fashion. Totally agree, Josh. Yes. But, like, let's see here. Love the move. In the past 10 years, the Broncos have had bad luck with first-time head coaches, McDaniels, Joseph, Fangio, but had more experience. Yeah, I think experience is huge here. And obviously, listening to everybody hype up Sean Payton, as David Carr said, him returning means the best play caller in the NFL is back in the game. And that got me a little excited, Will.
It's
you talked about two things, understanding matchups and scheming guys open. It was the biggest problem I felt like the Broncos offense had this season and then basically, I mean, I don't know. But like when I was watching the Chiefs game with Andy Reid coaching an injured Patrick Mahomes, they didn't play the exact same style of football. They schemed open a lot of quick passes in the sides of the field there to running backs or receivers. That kind of worked, or Travis Kelce or MVS, neither in the middle of the field, but on the sides of the fields. And that's where you want guys getting open for Russ Wilson. And if Sean Payton takes that same approach, gets those guys open in those spaces, and is as good of an offensive mastermind as he's been brought up to be, then I think there'll be more success for Russell Wilson based on that alone.
Yeah,
that's what gets people excited, right?
I think bringing up the matchups is a great point. He was the master at exploiting Jimmy Graham's freak athleticism as a tight end. And just
Shut up, Doug. Shut up, Doug.
That's enough of that, Doug.
Him and Russ go, and the Broncos just have no draft picks forever.
Think of the views, though.
Sorry, Jimmy Graham.
Yes, I think he's going to do really cool things with Dulcich and Alberto as well. I think Jerry Jeudy is going to, if he stays healthy, of course, he's going to have just a supreme breakout season. Sean Payton's going to get him wide open.
Yeah.
7 or 8 times a game.
Yeah. We're working on a video for my main channel, and Will brought up Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
But also like that, maybe the Broncos should bring him in, because with Sean Payton coming over, like one thing you kind of ask is like, what relationships with players does he still have that he might lure, onto our roster? Will brought up a good point that Russ Wilson doesn't have a great history with throwing slant routes, right? And we know he doesn't throw to the middle of the field too well. Slant routes, it's a receiver running towards the middle of the field. Drew Brees, a master at it. All you got to do, though, Will, is you flop them, and they're running towards the sideline. That's all Sean Payton's got to figure out. Because If it's Michael Thomas and he's running towards the sideline, I think Russell Wilson sees and hits him running in that direction.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think, yeah. So I brought up Michael Thomas. I think that's interesting. I don't know if they'll do that, but I think he'd be a good, like, kind of bargain 1 year rental. Yeah, I'll also have to look at, like, Kamara. I don't know if that's the smart move, but I think they'll consider it.
Yeah, that one's tough.
They do need a running back pretty bad.
Yeah, that one's tough, though, because he's going to be suspended probably 10 games.
You think 10 games?
Whatever the max is, yeah. I heard it was supposed to be 10. I mean, they have video of him, and he's leading the charge of beating the shit out of that dude. So, it's no bueno.
Okay, I'll take it back. How about Pierre Thomas instead? Can we get Pierre Thomas or Reggie Bush or Deuce McAllister?
Ooh, Reggie Bush, please.
Yeah.
Although Reggie Bush wasn't
like the one guy he
Twitter?
couldn't figure out how to use. Yeah, and then he got canceled the other day
because he said Brock Purdy needed to get out there and play.
Which I guess Brock Purdy did take his advice.
Yeah,
maybe not by choice though.
He had no choice.
Right. Yeah, and I think you might look at. I don't think they.
Good stat.
Did they re-sign Ryan Ramczyk, the right tackle? I'm just thinking of Saints we can take.
Yeah, just give us all the Saints, and I know they'll all come to Denver and take team-friendly deals.
Oh, I take it back. Sorry, he did sign a 5-year, $96 million deal with the Saints.
You don't let those guys get away. I think the Broncos won't sign a running back in free agency.
I think they'll draft a good one, though.
Yeah. I think they'll bring back Murray, who also has experience with Sean Payton.
Good point.
Because, Javonte's coming back from a really bad knee injury. We don't even know when he'll be good to go, actually. But Javonte, Murray, drafted dude, and who was good late in the season? Who did we like?
We liked Chase Edmonds, but I think his contract situation makes that tricky.
And
Tyler
Marlon
Beatty.
Mack had one good play.
He did. Tyler Beatty scored a touchdown in the last game.
Yeah, bring back Beatty.
Master Beatty.
Why is Lauren Landau, the biomechanic, still on our team? They need to fix the injury bug. I think we determined it's not really Landau. It's more the team. He's the strength and conditioning coach. It's more the trainers, the medical staff versus that guy. But who knows?
Broncos next first round pick in 2043. It's not the new Battlefield game. Is that 2043?
Ooh. It'll actually be in 2024, guys.
Yeah, come on.
But
also, F them picks.
F them. This does mean this year's draft is going to be horrible again.
Yes, for the second year in a row, we will be kind of neutered on the first day of the draft. We have a third round pick. I don't remember.
Yeah, we have a third rounder, I think.
Okay. So we'll hit the ground running on day 2.
Yeah.
I will be there for day 1, of course.
Yeah.
We
should just go to the draft and boo every draft pick.
It's in Kansas City, isn't it?
Ugh, never mind.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Let
me know when they have one in Northern California. I'll be there.
Yeah. Okay, so Fangio could be DC. I don't really care who the offensive coordinator is because that's Sean Payton's job.
Yeah.
It's just going to be like I could be their offensive. Will could be their offensive coordinator. It doesn't matter. What does matter is what Sean Payton does to help Russell Wilson during the game on the field. I think the biggest asset Sean Payton had over DeMeco Ryans was that we knew he could immediately be the guy to fix Russell Wilson. And I don't even think what Sean Payton did with Drew Brees is an indicator of why he can succeed with Russell Wilson. I think what he did with a very old and injured Drew Brees is a little bit better blueprint. But even more so, what he did with Jameis Winston in a very limited sample size is a good sign for Russell Wilson, because he helped Jameis Winston fix the one thing none of us thought could be fixed, which was turnovers.
Allegations.
And allegations. He went in 7 games in 2021 through like 14 touchdowns to 3 picks in 7 games before getting hurt. Peyton leaves. Winston comes back this season, 5 picks, 4 touchdowns, gets benched in favor of Andy Dalton for the rest of the season. It's a very limited sample size. But to me, like, that's the most impressive thing Sean Payton's done that should lead us to believe he can help Russell Wilson. Is you got to look at the quarterbacks that aren't Drew Brees that he's worked with and what they've kind of done, and forget Simeon and Ian Book and Taysom Hill and whatever.
Ian Book's 1 game away from a Super Bowl ring.
What's that?
I said Ian Book's 1 game away from a Super Bowl ring, my friend.
Yeah. But there was a bunch of losses after Winston went down and they came in. What was I going to say?
Yeah, not every coach can make it work with Trevor Simeon. I mean, that's kind of a Gary Kubiak thing.
It's Kubiak and Sean Payton. That's what they got.
I was just going to say that I think Sean Payton likes the fact that Russell Wilson is an undersized quarterback. Some would call him limited. Some would call him unlimited. But Sean Payton himself was a 5'11" quarterback in the NFL. He goes out and signs Drew Brees, his first chance to nab a quarterback as a head coach. Brees, famously undersized. One of the few quarterbacks he drafts in New Orleans is, of course, Ian Book, who's not a big guy at all. And then he chooses to work with Russell Wilson. So
yeah,
he has a type, it would seem.
Yeah, and the other guy he got the best out of is Teddy Bridgewater.
That's very true. Very true. And I guess Taysom Hill too.
Yeah, well, and that's a guy.
We need to find a Taysom Hill.
When does Taysom Hill's contract end? When can Taysom Hill be a Bronco?
Taysom Hill must be turning like 42 next year.
Yeah, I think he was on a 1 year deal this year, though, right?
Let's see. I mean, I think it would be wise to have a strong backup. It looks like he doesn't hit free agency until 2026. Well, there's a potential out this year.
Yeah, no, cut him.
After next year. Sorry. After next year.
Yeah, they gotta clear up a bunch of cap space.
There's $23 million in dead cap if they cut him this year. So I don't think it's gonna happen.
They gotta trade him
yet.
They gotta give us Taysom Hill.
Then we take on
and a draft pick.
Yes,
and we take on the salary.
Okay, now we're cooking with gas.
Boom.
I like that a lot. I think maybe you find your next Taysom Hill though. You wonder, like, say, who could that be? And I for one don't know if there are any quarterbacks out there who also return kicks and block punts, but
yeah,
I'm willing to find out.
I don't know. I'll just take Taysom Hill because
and our Mormon.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, like, you think about just a couple first, like, almost like guaranteed first downs in a game, a little extra thing to defend in the red zone if Russell Wilson is a little limited.
Yeah,
I think that helps Russell Wilson quite a bit. If not Taysom Hill, but yeah, sure, a Taysom Hill type. I'll take it.
Well, I think to some extent, Sean Payton is going to use Russell Wilson, his functional mobility, a little bit better than Hackett did last year, and try to use him not quite as in such a way as Taysom Hill, but he'll get him on the edge, I think, and I think he'll maximize what Russell Wilson still does well at this point, which we know he can move. He's not super elusive, but the straight line speed is still a factor. Maybe we take Blake Bell from the Chiefs, the Belldozer.
Sure,
Obviously,
because he can block too. You need somebody who can do some blocking.
He's played quarterback. He can block. 6'6". He's 31 years old. But yeah, that's my vote. We take away a crucial weapon from a division rival.
Boom.
Dude, they're not in the Super Bowl without Blake Bell this year.
That's true.
That's my analysis.
Yeah.
Of the Chiefs.
Big Blake Bell stan over here, Will Keys.
Yeah, I just liked watching him at Oklahoma.
So this draft, it'll be a little boring. I don't know how much help they're going to get there. The Broncos have about $13 million in cap space. They've got decisions to make, and that money can always be freed up. So I think with Sean Payton coming, with the Broncos showing the willingness to give up the draft capital, that what would on paper look like they're going to have a quiet free agency period. I don't think that's true. I don't know if it's like going to be a one big name signing versus what I think they should do. And what you've kind of alluded to is sign more role players, more key pieces that are healthy guys that can contribute, because one thing we saw this season is how bad injuries derailed the course of the season.
Yeah.
And then I think, like we talked about, offensive coordinator doesn't matter. What does matter is who they bring in to be their offensive line coach. I think that hiring is going to be key in how they get more out of the offensive line, because even with injuries until very late in the season, it felt like that unit was underperforming. They'll get Garrett Bowles back. Don't know what his health is going to be, but they still need to find a right tackle and probably another guy, guard, center, swing guy. So those are a lot of things that, in terms of what they have to do moving forward, are on the table. But I do feel better with Sean Payton there doing it.
Yeah, you don't feel like there's going to be this like feeling out period or adjustment period or whatever you want to call it. Like, I think they're just going to kind of hit the ground running. And I think we underestimated like the unknown last season. And because I think so.
Do it.
Right. We underestimated pairing a first-time head coach with a veteran quarterback, and we thought that Russell Wilson was this just like universal puzzle piece that you could plug in anywhere, and we learned the hard way that we were wrong, and we are correcting our mistakes.
Yeah, he's actually one of those like European outlets. You got to buy a special adapter to use all your electronic devices when you.
Yeah, that's basically the best way to put it.
Yeah. Works great once you find the correct pieces.
Yeah, once you get that good European electricity, clean energy. Yeah, so I think the strange part is like, I think we're so much better set up than we were a year ago. And yet I'm heading into it, because of the sins of last season, I'm heading into it with so much more cautious optimism.
Yeah. Like we've talked about before, I don't think Sean Payton fixes everything immediately.
Right.
But
he's going to build this team in his image. It might take a little bit of time.
It's good. I think at the minimum, it's going to take a year. Or maybe I don't feel great about this upcoming season, but I think we'll see enough from the direction the team is going and from what Russell Wilson does that we'll feel better at the end of the season than we did this next season than we did this last season. Here's the other thing, though. Like, if Russell Wilson does not work this season with Sean Payton, if he does not look better, I don't care what his contract is. He will be gone, and they will be figuring out another plan to get their next guy. Like, they'll eat the dead cap. They'll do whatever. I don't think this. If anything, this puts a little more pressure on Russell Wilson, and I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. But I think he'll have hopefully the right guy to work with. I don't think Russell Wilson knows what he needs, and I think you just got to give him Sean Payton and say, this is what you need. And he'll be like, all right, I'll do that.
I think we know what Russell Wilson needs, and it's the exact opposite of what he thinks he needs.
Yes. Yes.
He needs a boring wife. He needs no office. He needs a house with 0 bathrooms.
Yeah.
And he needs to throw the ball 12 times a game. And I'm not advocating for him to divorce Ciara. I just think Ciara needs to, she can't be a celebrity anymore. I'm sorry.
No more makeup.
No makeup.
You got to start eating bad.
Yeah.
You can stop showering.
Yeah. Maybe lay off the vocal training.
Oh yeah, just start singing band.
Suck at singing. Coming.
About time.
On the way. Yeah, I agree. Tell me about it.
Now, I've seen a couple people mention Cortland Sutton as a possible player to trade to grab some draft capital. If you can get the right, if you could get a second rounder for Cortland Sutton, then that's something you should definitely consider doing. If you can get something decent for KJ Hamler, you probably do that. As long as you center everything around keeping Judy and knowing you get Tim Patrick coming back, and then
Hamler one more chance. I know it's not probably wise, but I do.
I think with Sean Payton, he's going to have a better chance to succeed than ever. But
yeah, but he's not going to fix the injuries.
No, that's it. It's not a knock against Hamler. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy.
Yeah,
it's really sucked. But
hamstringler. That's not funny.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't think you want to overplay. I think having depth in your receiving core is is not a luxury to be taken for granted.
No.
And I want to see all these guys in this game. I want to have an embarrassment of riches at the receiver position and take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Maybe not bench Alberto for 12 games.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like there's maybe a little bit less pressure on the receivers that are labeled as receivers if you're using both Albert O and Greg Dulcich a lot in the passing game.
Yeah.
Then you don't need to have, you just need one or two other guys in the receiving game to be really good. You need the running game to work. That's like the most important thing. And a lot of, what the Saints did well with Alvin Kamara wasn't like just straight up handing him the ball off. It's
short
passing game. It's getting the screens that actually work. I think Russell Wilson can run those very effectively. The Broncos just couldn't run those. They couldn't get shit out of. They might have been the worst screen running team all season. The one thing like Russell Wilson has that Drew Brees never really had is a very good deep ball still. So like seeing what Sean Payton does, knowing that he has
had a good deep ball at one point.
He had a
very good deep ball for a while.
Okay. I guess I'm just thinking the last 3 years of watching Drew Brees where you're maybe taking one shot a game deep. I shouldn't have said never.
You shouldn't have.
But what he can do having that back in his game. Correct. Sean Payton.
Very well said.
His deep ball was okay. He never had a strong arm as well.
No,
neither did Manning. I
miss when Drew Brees would get on his tippy toes and like cock his whole body upward because he knew he was throwing deep before he did.
Yeah, that's the way like I have to throw it more than 40 yards. It's like your elbow almost has to touch the ground.
Yeah. He understood physics pretty well.
Yeah. Anyway, overall note is I'm
excited. I think I'm more excited than you.
Yeah, that's because you didn't make a
Yeah,
video.
the videos. Yeah, it's a different story. I get that. But in a vacuum, I think uh I this isn't like the Russell Wilson trade to me. In terms of like the level of excitement. But that's a good thing, I think.
Yeah. Our expectations are forever tainted until we win a
Forever,
Super
yeah.
Bowl again
Yeah.
or are really good again.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, watching another round of playoffs, I think especially was hard this year, knowing that we really did expect to make it at the beginning of the season. And to not even come close was obviously an embarrassment. And
Yeah.
I think it was embarrassing to our owners and to the players. And I think this is the year we get in there. I'm not saying we win the division, but I think we are one of the top 7 teams in the AFC.
Basically, I think we can have
Chargers
a winning
are
record.
out. The Chargers are out.
Chargers
See ya.
out.
Bye-bye. Get your ass out.
Ooh, yeah, Browns are in a worse situation.
Yeah, of course.
Especially if Deshaun Watson is bad again. It's a double whammy.
He's always bad.
Yeah, I mean, the Broncos might just be looking to the NFC South for free agency because both Tampa Bay and New Orleans 55, 57 million over the cap. New Orleans is in the worst cap situation.
Yeah.
So there's going to be guys that they're going to have to let go. And Peyton's familiar with that team, obviously, that division. So that could be areas that we see guys coming over. A lot of defensive players in Tampa they're going to have to make decisions on. And now we just wait. It's just nice to know because this coaching cycle was weird.
Very weird. People, not us. I think we were a little more level-headed to give ourselves some credit, but a lot of people are just kind of losing their mind at the end.
Yeah,
of this, and we've been through quite a few of these, and I think we know that would a perfect coaching cycle doesn't always yield great success on the field. It's like I can't remember who said it, but the Broncos have gotten their guy the last 7 times they've hired a head coach, going back to McDaniels, and seemed like they're struggling a little bit, at least from the outset, or it was a little more complicated, a little more messy. Doesn't matter, dude. The Colts got Frank Reich on accident.
Yeah.
And I know they just fired him, but I think he's
they got rid of him on accident.
Yeah, they got rid of him
just
as stupidly. But yeah, sometimes you stumble into these things, and I don't care necessarily about the process being good because I think you don't want to hire a head coach again for a number of years. You don't want to become an expert at interviewing head coaches. It's not a good sign.
What's your greatest skill? Oh, we interview the hell out of coaches.
Yeah. Yeah. And furthermore, like it's such a crapshoot at a certain point that I don't think like having this process down is the great thing that we think it is.
Yeah. No, I agree with all of that.
Thank you.
And I guess the one caveat is, Peyton unexpectedly just bounced on New Orleans.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that was a one-time thing.
Okay, he bounced after 15 years.
What?
If he bounces after 15 years, then
if it's after 15. But if he's like, this place sucks, I don't need this shit, I'm gonna go back to TV. I'll make up the probably close to 20 mil a year he's gonna get paid to be here.
Then we get
that would be the worst case scenario. That would be the worst case scenario. Even worse than like Russ not playing well. Because it would just be another totally wrong hire. Here's the thing, Inject. The difference for you moving forward is the Saints don't have a quarterback guys want to play for, and they don't have the coach yet. Guys will rework shit to come back for those two reasons. Trust me, as a Broncos fan, I kind of know.
I think we're led to believe that the cap was made up for a while. That was what we were being told.
It's made up. It's not made up.
It's not whose line is it anywhere where the points don't matter.
No.
It's obviously it's more malleable than we think it is, but eventually if you keep kicking the can, you're going to hit a wall. And I think the Saints proved that this year, and the Rams especially proved that.
I think the Saints are in a year where they're just going to eat it. Start over.
Yeah.
Hit that reset. George. Nice.
Got him.
Yes, it is a start of a new Broncos era. In many ways. New ownership, new head coach. Hopefully the best of Russ, or just the good of Russ. I don't think you'll ever get the best of Russ again, but the good enough of Russ. Because this is a Broncos team that did beat the 49ers this year. They did hang with the Chiefs both times. They beat the Chargers before the Chargers went right into the playoffs. I know I'm grasping here. But after Jerry Rossberg took over, we saw a different football team. We saw a better football team. We saw more out of the same guys we'd been losing with in horrific ways all season. And even the ways this team was losing, the games were close, and the only problem was they couldn't score points. And I 100% believe Sean Payton is the best coach out in this cycle to fix that. I think he's a better offensive mind than Jim Harbaugh. I think
he's better mind
he can do as just an offensive head coach and a play caller outweighs, at least in the short term with Russ, like what you're going to get if you did hire DeMeco Ryans or a defensive guy that you were really high on in this cycle. So that's why I'm optimistic.
I would have loved to seen Sean Payton get another crack at, I guess, like finding a new, like a serious long-term quarterback in New Orleans. I don't know how much of that, is up to him. He wasn't necessarily like the GM in name there, but I don't know. I would have liked to see him like invest a pick, like a good pick in there, and see his process a little bit, because eventually we're gonna have to make that decision.
Right.
But I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say, because we should get out of here. But I saw a thing about like Sean Payton might want to bring. Is it Ryan Poles? Was he the old Bears GM? Who's the Bears GM?
I think isn't Ryan Poles the current GM?
Who's their last one? Bears former
Ryan
GM.
Pace.
Ryan Pace. They're both Ryan P's, damn it.
Yeah.
That you want to bring Ryan Pace. That's where ownership's got to step in and say no thanks.
Yeah, great head of hair.
Yeah.
Maybe not a great general manager.
Force him to work with George Payton. I want a little friction between those two, because I don't think Ryan Pace was great. So maybe they worked together in New Orleans and he was good there, but I didn't like what he did in Chicago, and they seem to be better off without him. So that's just something to keep an eye on. It's a boring football thing, but yeah, see, Bears fans don't like it. And now we wait. Vic Fangio might be announced as defensive coordinator, which will be hilarious, but probably the right move if Evero gets a head coaching job or isn't interested in coming back. Offensive coordinator, doesn't matter. We got Sean Payton.
It don't matter.
All righty. That's it. That's all I got, Will. Anything else I missed?
Absolutely nothing.
All right. Sick.
Hit the nail on the head. As always.
And if you want to watch this show condensed into a 12-minute version, that video will be up on the That's Good Sports YouTube channel within the next hour or so. Check out Will's YouTube channel, Will Sucks at Games, for hilarious takes on sports games, narratives, jokes, video games that are sports related that are hilarious. Will Sucks at Games.
Thank you.
Give him a sub. More info will come. We'll be on it, as we always are. But moving on, since it won't be breaking news, we'll be about a day late. Good night.
And John Elway played his entire career without an ACL.
And good luck, Sean fucking